What if I'm chained by my own availability? I'm so tired of feeling like I have to say yes to everything. I'm drowning.
Do you ever stop to think about what truly dictates the course of your day, your energy, even your life's direction? That almost automatic yes you offer? That constant need to respond, to be agreeable, to be available. We live in a world that screams for our attention, a world that praises perpetual connection and immediate reaction. But what if this habit, this supposed virtue of constant availability, isn't a strength at all? What if it's a carefully disguised vulnerability? A gilded cage you've inadvertently helped construct around your own potential, your own peace. Consider this. This prison of predictability, however comfortable it may seem, isn't just about lost time. It's about lost power, lost self. And the most vital question echoes in the quiet spaces you seldom allow yourself. Do you realize you've always held the key?
The power of concealment lies not in what is hidden, but in the act of hiding itself, creating a space for mystery.
This relentless availability, this pattern of immediate compliance, it rarely earns you genuine respect. Instead, it makes you predictable. And what is predictable? Well, is easily controlled, easily devalued. You risk becoming an emotional vending machine, always there, always dispensing. People learn to press your buttons for what they need, a moment of attention, a word of comfort, a quick solution to their problems, a temporary fix for their unease. And then, when their need is met, often you're forgotten, left feeling strangely empty, perhaps even resentful, depleted.
Another day, another dozen yeses I didn't mean. My energy? Gone. My time? Not mine.
Is that the true purpose of your precious energy? To be a temporary resource used up and then cast aside until the next demand? There's a term for your inner strength, your vital life force. Some call it psychic energy. Think of it as your core fuel, the essence that powers your thoughts, your creativity, your resilience, your very will. Every unthinking reaction, every time you overextend yourself beyond your genuine capacity, every forced yes that echoes hollowly within you, it burns this irreplaceable fuel. When you are perpetually available, you're not just using your energy, you are leaking it constantly. A slow, steady hemorrhage of your most vital resource. This continuous drain is what leaves you feeling inexplicably empty, chronically exhausted, wondering why life feels so overwhelmingly hard, why your own ambitions seem so distant. It feels hard because you are, in essence, running on fumes. Your spirit, your core self, is tired. So why do we fall into this trap? Why wear this mask of constant agreeableness even when it costs us so dearly? Often, it's the persona, that carefully crafted face we present to the world for acceptance, for validation, sometimes just to fit in, to avoid friction. We play a role, hoping for applause, longing for connection, even if it means muffling our true voice, hiding the contours of our authentic self. And this mask, this deep-seated need to please, becomes the anchor that keeps you tethered to being overly available. It perpetuates the energy drain, and in doing so, it unwittingly sets the stage for others to dictate the terms of your engagement with the world. An unseen game begins, often a game of silent manipulation.
I can't get a read.
What if the quietest person in the room is actually holding all the cards? What if not reacting is the ultimate power play?
Let us confront a difficult truth. The subtlest manipulators rarely need overt force. They leverage your programmed reactions, your desire to be seen as helpful, kind, or indispensable. They trigger what you've left exposed, your eagerness to please, your fear of disapproval. Sometimes people project their own unresolved issues onto you. You become a convenient screen for their inner turmoil, their needs, their dramas. The friend who only appears in a crisis, the partner who requires constant emotional rescuing, They might not be seeing you, but the role you've become so adept at playing. And your unwavering availability is what keeps these unhealthy, draining dynamics alive and thriving. But what happens, what truly ignites within and around you when you consciously, deliberately choose to step back? When you begin to reclaim your time, your focus, your psychic space? When you stop being unconditionally available to everyone for everything at all times? Then everything begins to change. The energy field around you shifts palpably. People notice. They might question. They will undoubtedly feel your absence from their usual orbits, from the roles you once played. The old, predictable game breaks. The familiar patterns, so comfortable for others, begin to fall apart. Those who thought they had you perfectly figured out, perfectly cataloged, suddenly realize they may not know you at all. Your withdrawal isn't an act of vanishing. It is a profound act of reclaiming your true self, a powerful drawing inward to gather your strength. In this intentional withdrawal, you discover a formidable ally, a tool of immense power, silence. But not just any silence. This is not the silence of weakness, nor the silence of fear or uncertainty. No, this is conscious, strategic, clear-minded silence. It is not an empty absence. It is, paradoxically, a far stronger, more resonant presence. When you cease the relentless chatter of automatic reaction, you begin to truly observe. You start to see the hidden patterns in interactions, the subtle games being played, perhaps even your own forms of self-sabotage that kept you locked in the cycle of availability. Your cultivated silence becomes a mirror. It subtly compels others to confront their own unease, the inner noise they perhaps sought to escape by consuming your energy and attention. This intentional silence is full of unspoken meaning. It cuts through illusions. It invites truth. It is the native language of self-control, of inner authority. And wielding this language, this power, begins to fundamentally shape your world and how others perceive and interact with you. This strategic withdrawal, this mastery of silence, is the fertile ground upon an even more nuanced power can be built, the art of nonchalance. Not the nonchalance of apathy or uncaring detachment, but a profound, calculated composure that emanates from a deeply centered self. Imagine a person who, by revealing very little, seems to influence everything. This is the essence of true nonchalance. Its dominance disguised as disinterest, strength cloaked in an unruffled serenity. In a world that is increasingly loud and reactive, the nonchalant individual becomes a point of intense fascination, an enigma that others feel compelled to understand. Machiavelli, that keen observer of human nature and power dynamics, understood this implicitly. He taught that appearances are potent weapons. Quoting him, "The prince," he advised, "must learn to seem composed even when chaos roots around him." Why this emphasis on seeming? Because raw, unfiltered desperation is a vulnerability. Show your hunger, your anxiety, your immediate need for approval, and you offer others the levers to control you. But show nothing, or rather, show a calm, unreadable countenance, and you leave others disarmed, guessing. Your steady gaze that reveals no urgent need, your face that shows no pressing urgency, your words that carry no hint of panic, these become your impenetrable fortress. They cannot easily grasp you, and what cannot be readily grasped or predicted is often perceived as formidable, imbued with a certain mystique. This cultivated nonchalance is not a mere superficial costume. True nonchalance is not born from a hollow act of feigned indifference. It springs forth from a wellspring of inner clarity, from a rigorously trained discipline. It is not about feeling nothing. It is about exquisitely mastering what you feel. It is the art of thinking deeply whilst appearing detached, of holding the true upper hand by seeming not to even notice the game being played around you. The truly nonchalant have diligently cultivated a sacred space between external stimulus and internal response. They have faced their insecurities and emotional triggers in the quiet of their own counsel, learning to pause, to observe, to consciously choose their reactions rather than being driven by them. This is not the path of least resistance. Our primal wiring often urges immediate impulse, a quick bid for validation. To rise above this requires consistent training, an unwavering commitment to mastering your own emotional landscape. This is the reward for breaking your dependency on the intoxicating drug of constant external attention, for the profound realization that overt urgency is almost always the enemy of authentic, sustainable power. This cultivated inner stillness, this hard-won emotional sovereignty, allows you to become the calm eye of any storm. While others are tossed and turned by the tumultuous waves of fleeting emotions, you remain the anchor, steadfast, observant, and in control. You understand that your emotional energy is a precious currency to be invested with wisdom and precision, never squandered on trivialities or provocations. So, how do you begin to actively cultivate and wield these twin pillars of power? The strategic unavailability that conserves your energy, and the profound nonchalance that commands respect and shapes perception. It starts with small, consistent acts of rebellion against ingrained habits of overcompliance. Don't feel compelled to respond instantly to every message, every demand. Grant yourself the space to breathe before reacting. Learn to gracefully exit conversations or situations that feel draining or unproductive. Dare to turn off your phone, to disconnect without the shadow of guilt. Practice the art of the polite but firm declination. Thank you for thinking of me, but I won't be able to at this time. I appreciate the offer, but I'm not interested. I need to focus on other commitments right now. And here is a liberating truth, one that can dismantle years of conditioned people-pleasing. You do not owe anyone an exhaustive explanation for your silence, for your boundaries, or for prioritizing your own peace and well-being. Your freedom, your energy, your focus, these need no lengthy excuses.
Now, let's be forthright. This path to reclaiming your authentic self, this cultivation of strategic unavailability and nonchalance, it isn't always met with universal applause. You will likely feel internal resistance, pangs of guilt, that old echo of needing to please. Thoughts like, am I being selfish? Am I letting people down? Will inevitably arise. These are the ghosts of old programming. And others, those who were comfortable with your constant availability, who benefited from your porous boundaries, they will react. Expect it. Some may say you've changed, perhaps with an accusatory tone, as if your growth is an inconvenience to them. They might try, consciously or unconsciously, to pull you back into the old, familiar dynamics. Some might even distance themselves when they realize you are no longer playing the role they had cast for you. But it is crucial to see these reactions with clarity. They are not necessarily a judgment on your worth. More often, they are your undeniable proof of change. They signal that the old imbalanced system is breaking down. They demonstrate that you are successfully disrupting patterns that were not serving your highest good, even if they served others' convenience. Their discomfort can be a powerful indicator of your growing internal power and self-definition. You are no longer playing their game by their rules. Stand firm in your resolve. This is a critical phase of transformation. Because beyond this initial challenge, beyond that first uneasy silence you impose, beyond the initial discomfort of setting new boundaries, lies not emptiness, but a rich, empowering, and deeply fulfilling solitude. Not the ache of loneliness, but the calm, strong, generative solitude of those who genuinely know, accept, and value themselves. You become your own best, most authentic company. This is a rebirth of sorts. Confusion gradually gives way to clarity. Pervasive anxiety transforms into a grounded peace. The old neediness for external validation evolves into a solid, self-possessed strength. You cease to merely react to the circumstances of life. You begin to consciously, deliberately create your reality from the inside out. Your nonchalant presence, rooted in this inner security, doesn't need to demand attention. It naturally commands it. It dictates the emotional climate not through force, but through its sheer, unshakable stability. Those who drift away during this transformation were likely more attached to the mask you wore than to the true self you were uncovering. Let them go, with grace if possible. You are no longer available for connections that are less than genuine, less than respectful of your whole being. Now, you only welcome and cultivate relationships and interactions that resonate with your truth, your peace, your integrated wholeness. So, the question returns to you, now with a deeper understanding of what's at stake and what can be gained. Are you ready to be momentarily misunderstood, perhaps even subtly opposed, for the sake of your own profound inner freedom and authentic power? Will you pay the temporary price of discomfort for the lifelong reward of being truly, unapologetically you? Will you master your availability to protect your core and perfect your composure to navigate the world with wisdom and strength? If this journey towards reclaiming your energy and cultivating a powerful, calm presence speaks to the depths of your being, declare your intention. Write it in the comments below, not for us, but for yourself. I choose my power. I choose my peace. This exploration is just a beginning. Subscribe to Thinkabis as we continue to delve into the hidden currents of power, the mind, and the path to authentic self-mastery. More awaits.